Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. Today I want to talk with you about Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. And I want to start with something honest. I've heard a lot of criticism about this book. Some people call it boring, just for girls growing up, arguing, making noise, and eventually getting married. Like, no big ideas, no big depths. Others say it's just feel outdated. Like, why does everyone want to get married? Where is feminism? Where is freedom? And some readers are simply confused. Like, what war is Mr. Much fighting in? And honestly, I understand all these reactions. And if you have ever felt that this book was nice but overrated, this video is for you. Because by the end of this video, you will understand why Little Women was actually quite revolutionary for its time. To understand Little Women, we first need to understand who wrote it. Louisa May Alcott grew up in a very unusual family. Her father, Amos Bronson Alcott, was a philosopher and educator. He deeply believed in God, in moral growth, and in his students. He even founded his own school, which was eventually closed, and became one of the founders of the Transcendentalism, a philosophical movement based on self-knowledge and personal responsibility. He came from a poor farming family and built his life through intellect and hard work alone. Louisa's mother, Abigail Alcott, was no less remarkable. She was a social worker, an activist, and a suffragist, one of the very first in Massachusetts. She fought for women's rights, helped the poor, and believed deeply that women deserve independence and dignity. So yes, quite a combination of parents, do you agree? Growing up in this family, Louisa learned very early what poverty looked like, what injustice looked like, what it meant to be mistrusted just because you were a woman or because of the color of your skin. But she also learned something else. The injustice is not fate, and that the rules of your time don't have to be accepted without question. Louisa May Alcott lived from 1832 to 1888. This was the 19th century America. Legally, a woman had very few options: marriage and, you will be surprised, children. Once married, a woman became legally dependent on her husband. She had no control over her own finances. A law allowing women manage their own money appeared only in 1874. Divorce, by the way, was also impossible. And if it happened, children stayed with their father. So when modern readers ask, why does marriage matter so much in this book? This is the answer. If we look at the literature of that era, we can see a clear pattern. Bronte, Austen, Dickens, no matter how complex the story was, everything led to one moment: wedding. Marriage was the apotheosis of a woman's life. After that, nothing interesting was supposed to happen. Care for the husband, care for the household, care for the children, even careers and personal growth ended at the altar. So, Little Women takes place during the American Civil War from 1861 to 1865. The father goes to war, the family is left behind. The northern states fought to abolish slavery. The southern fought to preserve it. The North won, and slavery was abolished with the 13th Amendment in December 1865. I won't go deeply in political motives here. You can read about all this in Wikipedia if you're interested. What matters here is how the war shapes the everyday life in this novel. Religion played a central role in people's lives. People prayed more often than we post photos on social media today. In the book, the mother's main gift to her daughters is the scripture, not as dogma, but as a guidance for living a meaningful life. So legally, women needed male protection. In reality, during the war, many women rolled up up their sleeves and took responsibility for everything. And this contradiction lies in the heart of Little Women. Under mommy's wide guidance, the girls live, work, study, make mistakes, and learn to understand themselves and others, and also realize that the world is not divided into simple categories like good and evil. The idea that a woman can be the head of a family, not just a keeper of a home, was quite revolutionary. From the very first chapter, we meet four sisters: Meg, Jo, Beth, and Emmy. Each has her own dream, each has her own talent, each has her own flaws, and none of them are idealized. Meg is the eldest, smart, beautiful, socially skilled, but initially too focused on money and appearances. She needs time to understand that family life is work, not a fairy tale. Jo is the author's alter ego, bold, sharp-tongued, ambitious, deeply devoted to writing. What is truly radical is that her parents support her career. They don't force her into marriage. They believe that she has the right to choose her own path. Beth is quite gentle and fragile. Her story teaches sisters how irreplaceable quiet people can be. Emmy is the youngest, spoiled at first, but she goes through the longest journey of growth. Her real-life prototype was Louisa's sister, a professional artist who traveled between Europe and America. Little Women shows how character is formed. Kindness, honesty, generosity, they are not innate, they are learned. The March sisters are poor. They work, they see other richer girls with beautiful dresses, with easier lives, and they feel envy, of course. In the 19th century, people compared themselves at social gatherings, like we do today on social media. And the feeling hasn't changed. The structure of the novel is inspired by The Pilgrim's Progress by John Bunyan. This isn't about heavy religion. As one of the sisters says, playing the pilgrim is just another name for trying to become better. At its core, the book promotes very simple values: kindness, gratitude, honesty, and self-awareness. Even today, many girls grow up hearing the same ideas: that they must get married, preferably, of course, marry well, that a woman's happiness lies in marriage and children. And for some people, of course, that truly is happiness, if it's their own choice, so why not? But in the 21st century, it's also obvious that a woman can choose a completely different path, or mix them at least, and still be fulfilled and happy. That's why Little Women still speaks to us today. The book didn't stay in 19th century. By the way, in Friends season 3 episode 13, I guess, Rachel and Jo decided to read each other's favorite books, and Jo reluctantly read Little Women.
These Little Women. Wow!
And surprisingly, he loved it. Little Women also deeply inspired Joan Rowling. She gave Hermione Granger many of Jo's traits. And the irony here is that in 2019 adaptation, Emma Watson played Meg, not Jo. I think that the 1994 adaptation remains the closest to the book. So, to wrap this up, Little Women may look simple. It's of course not about plot twists like we discussed with you with Tess of the Durbivers. By the way, if you haven't seen this video, you should definitely do this. It's about atmosphere, moral growth, and how to live with conscience. And the most radical thing about this book, I think that it never tells us which sister is right. It allows every version of womanhood to exist without punishment. I hope I managed to show you why this novel was truly revolutionary for its time, especially considering that Louisa May Alcott was not allowed to keep her original ending. So if you enjoyed this video, feel free to like it and subscribe to the channel. It really helps. And in the next video, we will talk about good wives and what happens when childhood dreams finally meet adulthood. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.